The deeper layers of muscle in your hip, more specifically the external rotators, have more leverage over your femur to create external rotation torque when you're at 0 degrees of hip flexion. That means when your femur or your hip is straight down, right? But when you bring that same femur or hip up into 90 degrees of hip flexion, their attachment onto that greater trochanter or that side of that femur is going to create more of an abduction force or horizontal abduction. So if you understand that anatomy, it's very easy to actually apply that to try and load those same tissues. And in this example, I'm going to show you how to do it with the 90-90. It's very convenient in the 90-90 because we are in a hip flex position, right? And we are in an externally rotated position. So if I wanted to impose more of a horizontal abduction force, I can grab my front ankle with both my hands and I can rest my elbow onto my knee. This is going to provide me the leverage to actually be able to create the force without losing position. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to drive my shin down and then I'm going to drive my shin out. But as I drive my shin out, I'm also going to feel like my pelvis is going to rotate the opposite direction. So if you think about that, if my left femur is coming out to the left and my pelvis wants to go to the right, I'm creating that horizontal abduction in this position. Okay? Now we are not at end range, right? Because if I was in end range, I wouldn't actually be able to create any movement. So if you wanted to wind up the tissues more in this horizontally abducted position while maintaining external rotation, all you would do is instead of going into 90-90, you would try and go into more of an open 90-90 or borderline pigeon, right? But the more you abduct the hips to start, the more at end range you're going to be. And so you're going to be in that horizontally abducted position. You're still in external rotation. I can still get a good stretch here. And then I'm going to apply the same force. I'm going to drive my shin down and I'm going to drive my shin out. And as I drive my shin out, I'm trying to rotate that pelvis the opposite direction. And you'll notice that as you do that and you drive that tension into the floor, you're going to be able to access much, much deeper layers of tissue.